Hey everybody, welcome to the MTC Report, reporting live from the studio here in Seattle, near the Space Needle, and we're having a good time. I just auditioned for The Voice, the NBC Voice contest, so that was kind of fun. I did a funky, rocked up version of, what did I do? Oh, House of the Rising Sun, that's right, yes. I turned it into a funky blues song, so. But I hope you're all doing well. We're coming up on the holidays here and towards the end of the year, so wow, what a year, right? I mean, we have an authoritarian in the White House, and according to the United Nations, we heard from the secretary the other day at the Reuters Next conference. He said that there were war crimes committed in Gaza, and international law has been broken with the U.S. attacking Venezuela. There you have it. It's a very difficult time for some folks who are afraid that democracy is slipping away before our eyes. There are other folks who are just frustrated that even though we have 80,000 people marching at the No Kings event here in Seattle, that no demands have actually been presented to the government nor met. Of course, you can't meet demands that haven't been delivered. According to the First Amendment, the people have the right to peaceably assemble, to redress, to petition the government for redress of grievances. So every No Kings, in San Diego, there were 50,000 people on No Kings Day marching. So these are some of the largest demonstrations we've seen in the history of this country, and yet nothing much seems to be changing on the top. And that's because our Congress is controlled by the Republicans, who support, for the most part, Donald Trump and his authoritarian regime. So I hope you enjoy the season, the holiday season, and despite what's going on, despite the person in the White House, and let's all have hope that cooler heads will prevail, and that the United States can at some point reclaim its democracy and stop making a fool of ourselves around the world. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report, so check out Democracy Watch News. We are a nonprofit news organization where I serve as executive director. If you want unfiltered, non-corporate news, we are a nonprofit, and more of those are popping up. In fact, I guess the Spokesman Review in Spokane, their major newspaper, is going nonprofit now. Because the ownership there decided to ask the community to match a $2 million contribution to get it started as a nonprofit operation. So there you go. That's a good thing. And nonprofit news is important because it doesn't go through corporate censors, and there's no advertising to shape the message, and no political parties shaping the message. So thank goodness for that. That's what journalism is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be somewhat independent, although we all have our opinions, of course, and our political affiliations. I tend to be an independent, but I definitely do not lean to the right side of things, and I am, as a journalist, very upset at what's been going on in this country in terms of crackdowns on freedom of the press, and the fact that a lot of major corporate news media is acquiescing to the White House and paying off these settlements so that they can get their merger deals. So that's a type of corruption. Let's get that straight, get that plain, folks. This is called corruption when decisions are being made on the part of the government and on the part of corporations in collusion with each other, okay? It may be considered legal at this point, but it doesn't mean it's not corrupt. The FCC has definitely been used as a political tool by the administration to try to punish his opponents in the media, of which there are many, of course, except for Fox News, which is his kind of propaganda arm. But then even amongst the right, there are a lot of people, and amongst conservatives, there are a lot of people who are arguing over this presidency. And four-star General Barry McCaffrey, if you've seen my earlier program, my other earlier episodes, or my guest appearances on the Jeff Santos show, or my news reports for the Tom Hartman show, Barry McCaffrey, you've heard me talk about this. Barry McCaffrey is a four-star retired general of the U.S. Army who says that Trump must be removed from office by Congress as quickly as possible. And if the Reuters Next conference was any indication, and there were 700 leaders from around the world, from NGOs and government and private organizations and corporations there, but Reuters has a section called Breaking Views, and they try to predict the future. And they are saying that it looks like it's likely that the House will flip, the House of Representatives will flip to the Democrats before the November election in 2026 because of all these special elections that are going on around the country. So we'll see how that pans out. The Reuters Next conference was very interesting. We got to hear from Perlina Igbabwe, too, who is the chairwoman of NBC Universal, who told us a couple things. She said that AI will not replace human storytelling, which is good to hear. And then also that that NBC is very proud of its late night comedy platform, including Saturday Night Live. So she says you will not be seeing any changes there, regardless of how controversial Saturday Night Live may be. Although I don't hear the president often talking about SNL, and I don't know why. He went off on Jimmy Kimmel and called him a loser. Well, called him washed up and a has-been or whatever. The same thing he said about Jack White. Yeah, like a week after Jack White played on Thanksgiving during the halftime show for the NFL Thanksgiving game, and with Eminem, our local boy here from Seattle, and was seen by millions of people on television. So apparently his career is not so washed up as you would think, Mr. President. But that's the situation in the United States right now. To people around the rest of the world, all I can do is apologize for the fact that democracy turned out to be very messy this time. It's not always an easy or it can be a bumpy road, let's put it that way. And reclaiming democracy is the point right now. Was it Churchill who said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all of the rest? But this time people actually elected someone who's an authoritarian. And unfortunately, he has undermined the U.S. Constitution on many levels. So we're looking at this as a bad time in U.S. history and hoping that it will end soon and a new democracy will flower. And as I said in my Christmas song, a free press for the people, good affordable health care, and a brand new strong democracy. Yeah, that's my version of the Christmas song this year. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out my appearances on the Thom Hartmann program and the Jeff Santos show. By the way, Jeff is now broadcasting in all over the country. San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Boston, New York City. He's everywhere, folks. You can't avoid him now, at least on terrestrial radio. He's also live streaming, of course, through his website and at YouTube. So you can go to thejeffsantosshow.com. Remember to put the in there because somebody hijacked his old website. You don't want to see what's on there. It's all about that guy in the White House. But the Jeff Santos Show. Jeff is a very progressive guy. He's very outspoken, has had very outspoken guests. That's his tradition. Alan Grayson is a regular guest for him, the former U.S. congressman. And believe me, Alan does not mince words. He's very outspoken. And so am I on Jeff's show. So it's a good place to see some more unfiltered information, news and commentary, and some entertainment too, as I often do some music there. Also go to the Democracy Watch News, which I mentioned before, democracywatchnews.org, and check out the nonprofit that I work with. We cover human rights and democracy issues, especially freedom of the press and freedom of speech, of course. And also Thom Hartmann's show is great, thomhartmann.com. Yeah, we call him the professor, even though he does not have a professorial degree. So we'll be clear about that. But he's a very, very intelligent man and very well-meaning guy. I've known him for years. He and Jeff are both friends, and I appreciate what they both do. So it's an honor to be on their shows. So I'm on Jeff's show, the Jeff Santos Show, every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, so drive time, which is good. And as I said, we're also heard in Los Angeles, San Bernardino, San Francisco, San Diego, New York City, Boston, and other places. So I hope you're all doing well. I think that's all that I need to talk to you about at the moment, except that, yes, press freedom is on the decline in the United States. And, by the way, I do appreciate Saturday Night Live's skits where they hold those spoof press conferences, because sometimes they're not far from the truth, actually, with the way that this administration treats journalists. But yes, every Friday on the Jeff Santos Show, you can check out my music video, too, on YouTube called Mother Freedom. I'm a musician, so you'll see some of my music up, and you can see me at some concerts coming up and some music videos that I'm going to be releasing here and other places. So this is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report. what else should I tell you? Press freedom, press freedom. Yes, the United States is currently ranked 57th in the world on the World Press Freedom Index as compiled by Reporters Without Borders. Reporters Without Borders is an international advocacy group for journalists, and they focus on things like freedom of the press. So you can go to their website. It's actually RSF, and I'll put that down there, where you can also click the like button and share, by the way. But I will put a link down there to RSF and the World Press Freedom Index. You can check out the United States ranking. We're 57th in the world, which means there are 56 other countries, according to Reporters Without Borders, who have more press freedom than the United States, and that's very sad. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield. Oh, and by the way, my colleagues in the media refuse to even acknowledge this, so you're never going to hear this anywhere else except here, and maybe the Jeff Santos Show, Democracy Watch News, and the Tom Hartman program. Because corporate media in the United States, except for Axios, they did cover it. They were like, after I lobbied all of the major media in the United States, I think they were the only ones who actually even mentioned on May 3rd, World Press Freedom Day. Every year, May 3rd, World Press Freedom Day is kind of a focus of my year, because there are international conferences all over the world. And on that day, I've participated in conferences in The Hague and other places about press freedom. But no one in the United States will report on the fact that it's even World Press Freedom Day. They don't even report on, let alone the fact that we're ranked 57th in the world in terms of press freedom. And that ranking has been dropping steadily, folks, since 2002. So we have been sliding on our press freedom. In the past, that was due to how journalists were treated by police at major protests in the United States, and also the way that corporate media has been able to consolidate, so that only a few companies own most of the media that people hear and see. So that kind of a monopoly, according to Reporters Without Borders, limits diversity and limits the political spectrum and leads to less democracy, which I agree. Anyway, support independent media, support Democracy Watch News and Amy Goodman at Democracy Now! And all the people who are doing the right thing and are not just there to make a bunch of money and look good on TV. This is Mark Taylor-Canfield for the MTC Report. Check back in, subscribe to my channel, and you'll get all sorts of ad-free, at least at the moment, ad-free videos, my music and my journalism and my appearances with Jeff Santos and Tom Hartman. So hope you're all doing well, and we'll catch you next time.
About a controversy now roiling CBS News. The newly installed editor-in-chief, Barry Weiss, is under fire for pulling this 60 Minutes segment about the Trump administration's migrant deportations to a notorious prison in El Salvador. Her decision came after the network had been publicly promoting the story just hours before it was set to air. In a statement to CNN, Weiss defended the move, saying this, quote, "My job is to make sure that all stories we publish are the best they can be. Holding stories that aren't ready for whatever reason, that they lack sufficient context, say, or that they are missing critical voices, happens every day in every newsroom. I look forward to airing this important piece when it's ready." The correspondent who worked on that story is disputing Weiss's statement, saying that the reporting team had requested comments from officials at DHS, the White House, and State Department. In an email to her CBS colleagues last night, correspondent Sharon Alfonsi wrote, quote, "After every rigorous internal check has been met, is not an editorial decision, it is a political one. Government silence is a statement, not a veto. Their refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. If the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient." CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter joins us now. Brian, you have new information about the lead up to this decision?
That's right. 60 Minutes executive producer Tanya Simon talked with concerned staffers earlier today, and she said she supported the Alfonsi segment. She was not trying to stop it from airing, but she had to comply when Barry Weiss weighed in with those last-minute questions and changes. This is a strange situation because of the timeline involved here. Weiss was involved in the review of the story last week. She screened it ahead of time on Thursday night. She did not block it from airing initially. The announcement went out on Friday afternoon. Alfonsi lives in Texas. She taped her introduction. She flew back home. Everybody thought this was ready to go. Then on Friday night, perhaps a total coincidence, President Trump railed against 60 Minutes and CBS again at a rally. Then at some point, Friday night, Saturday morning, Weiss emailed Simon, messaged Simon with her specific concerns, essentially pulling back the segment, deciding it should not air. Weiss is focusing on the lack of a response from the Trump administration. She says she wants an on-camera, on-the-record interview with someone like Stephen Miller addressing the abuses that have been alleged at that prison in El Salvador. But as you just mentioned, Alfonsi's argument is that if you wait around for the administration to comment and they decide to never engage, then you're giving the government a kill switch for the story. So there's a lot of concern inside CBS about why this happened, and a lot of questions about whether parent company Paramount is involved.